Hello everybody and welcome back for some weekly VR news. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Today is pretty much business as usual, or the quiet before the storm, as both the release of the MetaQuest 3S and Batman Arkham Shadow are rapidly approaching, and VR is set to go through another one of its exponential growth periods. But before that, we have a bunch of games releasing this week, multiple exciting new game announcements. We finally got some footage of Metro Awakening running on the Quest, and finally, not only did Meta drop new avatars on us, but it also appears that their Orion prototype has Apple rethinking the Vision Pro. Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by my long-term sponsor, Kiwi Design. If you recently picked up a Quest 3 or planning to get a Quest 3S, you might notice right out of the box the headset's not very comfortable, or you need to increase your overall battery life. In that case, I highly recommend an Elite strap from Kiwi Design. I've been using them for years, they're my absolute favorite head strap, and the company also has plenty of other VR accessories for all of your needs. Check out the link in the description below, and don't forget to use discount code Mateo311 for 5% off and to help support my channel. Okay, so let's start things off like normal with the check-in, and that's what have I been up to in the VR world. Unfortunately, when it comes to gaming, I've been slacking a bit. I haven't been playing too much. Flat screen's been taking up my time with Space Marine 2. I even tried out a new MMO. Hopefully I don't get addicted. Regardless though, I've been testing a lot of VR hardware. So I do have 2 hardware videos dropping this week. I think you're going to enjoy both of them. One is an accessory that I absolutely loved, and another one is a headset review. So we'll see what happens there, guys. Again, if there's any games or hardware or whatever you want me to review, drop it in the comments. I usually do a lineup of games on Friday, like a quick first impressions on multiple games that dropped. So if there's new games coming up that you want me to check out, let me know. But for now, let's just get to this week's new releases. The Silent Slayer is making its way onto pcvr. This is from Shell Games, the studio that gave us the absolutely amazing I Expect You to Die series, and now they put a whole new twist on the escape room concept. Instead of having to break out, you are now breaking into coffins to slay some vampires, and any failure will result in one hell of a jump scare. I've already played through this game on the Quest, it's an absolute blast, and another easy title to recommend if you're into that genre. But sticking with the whole horror theme, we have You Can't Scare Me. This is a unique experience that you could try out in both single player or online with up to 4 people. In multiplayer modes, you and a bunch of friends could set up a series of traps and also do your best to scare the single victim who's currently on a treasure hunt. So it looks like this could be a really fun experience with some friends, and they're absolutely dropping the game in the perfect month. But let's move on from horror and into fitness. Alo Move XR is your all-in-one wellness application. It offers up your very own virtual sanctuary where you could jump in for some yoga, Pilates, or to practice your overall mindfulness. So this is perfect if you don't enjoy public classes and just need a little help getting some exercise done at home. Now, I'm personally about as flexible as concrete, so I'm gonna at least try this app out and see if it helps. Now, next up, we have a flat screen port that looks like it could be absolutely fantastic in VR. Metamorphosis originally released in 2020, and it had you taking on the role of a human who was transformed into a tiny bug. Obviously, the world is going to take on a whole new perspective, and even aspects like how you move around are completely different. Now, between the fact that this was a very well-received flat game, and scale is an element that works extremely well in VR, I think this could be excellent to experience in VR. Now, moving into new game announcements. First up is The Midnight Walk, a creepy looking dark fantasy adventure title. Now the game's definitely dripping with style, as it has an environment reminiscent of a Tim Burton movie, and it emulates that old school claymation effect, which that alone feels a bit unsettling. Overall, the title looks pretty damn wild, but I have no idea what we're in store for. The title's currently scheduled to release in spring of 2025, so it's definitely going to be a little while before we get to try it. But if you're looking for something a bit more lighthearted, we have the RPG adventure title Mythic Realms. Prepare to take on the role of a hero as you battle mighty foes, gather resources, level up, and jump between mixed and virtual reality. Now generally I like my RPGs a bit more adult themed, but this looks like it could be a fun time. And last up in the gameplay news, we finally got some footage of Metro Awakening running on the Quest. Now on screen we have a comparison video, and as I expected, Vertigo Games was able to do a good job getting this to run on the Quest 3. Now obviously you'll notice details like lower textures and a lack of lighting effects, but overall the game is looking really good. So there's not much more to say here. I'm impressed with what they accomplished. As someone who already played a demo of the PlayStation VR 2 version, I can tell you this is a great looking game, and now I'm pretty pumped that all VR players are going to have a great experience. Now before we move into today's main topic, I just have one hardware story, and that's the fact that Microsoft has discontinued the Hololens 2. No real shock here, it was never gaining much traction. I know they tried to move it into military application, which failed, like miserably. Like they were making soldiers sick. They were not more effective in combat. It was an ultimate failure. I guess the hardware wasn't there just yet. So the Hololens is discontinued. Support is ending in 2027. And I don't think Microsoft will jump back into the whole mixed reality XR industry until it's very well established. Microsoft's known to do that. Like sometimes they jump in too early, sometimes they jump in too late. Sometimes they jump in late and they're able to pull it off, but they're like 50-50. And I think, you know, they've never really been committed to XR and they'll just wait till later in the game at this point. Now, briefly moving into the rumor mill, in an article published by Bloomberg, it appears that Meta's Orion prototype has Apple rethinking their XR strategy. Their current plan is to rework the Apple Vision Pro into a cheaper product that could be more mainstream. But if the future becomes a choice between sleek 100-gram eyeglasses or a bulky headset, I think the choice will be clear. Now, apparently, internally, Apple does not have a consensus on how they should move forward. You could continue with upgrading the components that are already in the Apple Vision Pro, continuing with the ultimate prosumer device. We already know Apple's also pursuing a cheaper version, something with a bit more mainstream appeal. But the third option now becomes moving the compute component to an iPhone. In this case, they could take the majority of the bulk out of the headset itself, and users would be required to have a modern iPhone to use the headset. Now, in my opinion, that's probably the best direction to go. You already have a puck for the battery that comes off your Apple Vision Pro, so it's not like you're going to be adding something that's more cumbersome. A lot of people are locked into that ecosystem, so they already have an iPhone. So they have an iPhone, and now they're going to get this accessory that, you know, just amplifies it, gives them more to do with their iPhone, more games to play, stuff like that. I think that's definitely a great direction. It just makes sense. Like, you want to remove all the bulk from here where it's not comfortable, too much heat. I can't wear the Apple Vision Pro like for any extended period of time. I've had to use like third-party accessories to make it a little bit more comfortable, but it also puts too much weight on my nose. It's just not for me. So yes, for me, the bulk's got to go. Move it to an iPhone. I wouldn't buy it. I'm not an iPhone person. So maybe that limits who would buy it. But then again, I think there's Apple people and then there's Android people at the end of the day. So that's probably the direction they should go in. And I'm kind of glad that someone is able to put Apple back on their heels. Like, they released the product and it didn't blow everyone's mind. And it wasn't like, oh, Meta is done with VR. Meta is done with XR. It's all Apple now. No, they're a new player in the industry. They're going to push it in different directions. I'm very happy to see this coming. But let's move on to a little bit more Meta stuff with the surprise of new avatars. Yep. If you opened up your app recently or you were on your Meta Quest, you noticed the option of, hey, we have new avatars. Are you ready to upgrade your existing avatar? And if you're like me and many other people out there, you were done dirty. When it upgraded the avatar, you got some goofy looking dude. But I will say, I reworked my guy. He's now almost as handsome as me. And the new avatars are just awesome. I'm really enjoying them. It's nice to see Meta move away from the ultra kidsy stuff. Those old school avatars were pretty embarrassing. And now I have a character I'm not ashamed to be represented by. So kudos to Meta for continuing to pump out great updates. And I'm looking forward to any other surprises they throw our way. And that was today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Leave this video a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. I always enjoy reading your comments. I'll do my best to get back to you. So if you have any questions, comments, whatever it is, drop them below. And I will see you guys on next time.